Turn our attention to ECS additional settings. Well, what do I mean by additional settings? I mean metadata and user data. So instance metadata is provided via a HTTP service that's actually accessible from any Alibaba Cloud VPC, regardless of whether or not your ECS instance has a public IP address. The URL for that service is, as shown here at the top of the slide, 100.100.100.200/latest/metadata. Essentially, you can use this data to do things like automate some of the setup and configuration of your instance. Just to give an example, maybe you have a setup script that you bake into your instance boot disk image, the disk image, and this setup script needs to know your instance's hostname and public IP address. Well, it can get that information from the metadata service and then use that to configure other things like WordPress or Apache. And then there is the user data. So the user data is input information that the instance uses for automated bootstrapping at instance creation time. Again, there's an internal endpoint for that, 100.100.100.200/latest/user data. And of course, you can find the content of that user data via wget or curl on Linux or via PowerShell's invoke REST method on Windows. If you're curious to see what's in there, any instance when it first boots up will query this service and will execute whatever items it finds in the user data field. So it could be a shell script, a Linux shell script, starting with #bang/bin/sh, or it could be a Windows batch or PowerShell script. And these are essentially just scripts you use to do initial setup when an instance first boots up. Those would be located in this user data field. And that's all for additional settings.